Hey everybody, so welcome to wow, this is the last Friday in November, right? That we'll be here because next Friday we'll still be out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we
But
should do like a virtual podcast over the break.
I don't know if that's the day after Thanksgiving, and some of y'all may not be able to make it the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I'll be asleep.
From eating so much and all those things. But let's talk about that. Like, what health plans are you have for the week of Thanksgiving? Because sometimes we eat so much that we don't think about the plans of like trying to stay healthy, things that we what's the plan? Are y'all going to the gym the day after Thanksgiving, or you going the day of? I mean, what's the plan?
So, guess what?
What's that?
I have the pleasure and the opportunity of being here at Michelle Clark Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. So what I'm going to do, we have a phenomenal, and I'm being serious about this, we have a phenomenal weight room, and I plan on using it. I'm going to use that weight room, and I'm going to get my exercise on.
Do you want us to come and work out with you? Or?
Sure.
I might come and do that.
Can I get what we're going to be working on? I don't want to just come and we random.
Monday, well, I'm not going to say Monday because some weeks I start on Tuesday.
But can we just start? Tell us what we're working on. I can know.
First day is going to be, chest and triceps, but typically I do like a full body regimen. But I have a focus area. So the first day is usually chest and triceps. Day 2 is legs. Day 3 is back and biceps.
And what time are we starting this?
So I like to get it done early so we can start at like 9 or 10.
So we come at 9:00 Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Well, maybe not Monday. Monday is gonna be a little.
So
later.
Tuesday, Wednesday, and
Yeah.
then we'll be ready for Thanksgiving. Are we doing anything Friday?
Oh no.
Friday is sleep.
Friday, I'm going hard Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, so that I can go hard on the pies and the cakes on Thursday. And then Friday, I'm going hard on that sleep and rest.
And then you picking back up working hard on Thursday. I mean on Saturday.
On Saturday is gonna be another rest day.
This sounds more like rest days than really working out days.
I ain't going to work out every day.
But you ain't trying to lose weight either. But you're trying to maintain.
Well, actually, I probably do need to lose a few.
No, but I mean like the week of Thanksgiving, you just trying to work it out.
Yeah, I'm just trying to maintain that week.
Okay. Anybody else got thoughts on?
I'm already like all muscle and stuff like that. So
Right.
I'm just gonna I'm gonna try to get some golf in if weather permits.
Okay.
Turner, I will go golfing with you. Why don't you set this up?
Yeah.
We can look at the week now and find out.
So I was
We
just
could do a
looking-
golf routing.
I was just looking, Monday and Tuesday kind of promising, high 50s,
Y'all want to do we'll do a golf outing. We'll have to let you guys know what we do, but we'll do a golf
Go
outing.
to Columbus,
Columbus Park has the best
nice.
golf
That's nice.
course.
Yeah.
Pretty nice.
I want to learn how to play
The
golf.
best is on the west.
That's right. That's
Pretty
right.
nice.
So back again to the man that you are called to be. We think we got some workout next week, and we got some possible golfing next week, and sleep and eat. All right, it's going to be a big thing.
Oh, yeah.
But altogether, whatever you do for the weekend, it's still about being the person that you're called to be, even though we're doing the man that you're called to be, because it's important to realize that. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about today was, I know that we've talked about so much as it relates to this, and I really hope that people who have been listening to the podcast have gotten some from it, but I hope that we've gotten some from it, right? And when I got to chapter 59, one of the things that it talked about is more than just existing. And the reason why I thought that was important is because sometimes we're doing so much and we're getting gratitude from it, but then we don't realize when it becomes mundane that we're doing it. And so when we get caught up in that circle or that hamster wheel, we don't realize that now we're just existing. And so we've lost all that we just worked up to do because we've fallen into, I don't want to say a trap, but we've fallen into just routines. And routines then become a way of us not feeling like we're doing more if we're not careful. We'll think this is what we're doing. And this shows that I'm doing it. But really, as this chapter talked about, it's just more than existing. So I want to throw that out, like, especially as we get to the end of the year, January, we start a new year, how do we make sure that we're not just still just existing with all the things that, because sometimes doing more means more stuff that we just balancing around.
I think that's important. I think I started reading some things and it kind of said like kind of the same things where it's like we have to get used to not just like surviving or not just living, but enjoying life. Because sometimes it's that. Like sometimes even if when you pushing through, like Sometimes coming out of high school, you're excited to get to college, and then you're excited to graduate, and all that, all that exciting point. You get to graduation is real big, and then like a couple years, the reality kind of sets in, and then you're trying to find a job, and then that excitement comes in. You start the new job, and then that gets to not a routine, but then you get into the movement of actually starting to work. And then, not to say that excitement kind of wears down, but you start to just kind of go with the flow and get stuck in that routine, and then you end up existing and not just, being as effective as you probably would be if you had that excitement in the beginning. So not say it stays dull, but it becomes a routine, a consistent routine.
Yeah, and tapping into that, there was a song by Kendrick Lamar. I want to say it was.
They Not Like Us?
No.
Oh.
Before all that foolishness. Mortal Man, I want to say, where Tupac had like a kind of outro conversation with Kendrick Lamar. He was talking about like, by the time you get, 30, there's not a whole bunch of like rah, trying to, that fighting, you just kind of like, just start going with the flow. And there's that peak time in your life where you do like, you have the freedom to like really become who you want to be. Oh, security?
Security? Is anyone near? Thank you, Mr. Jordan.
Gotta be on point.
Yeah, so like I think that existing piece, like we do kind of get into the mundane like routines, and we just kind of keep taking on things, and we forget what we want.
We forget our purpose, our why.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
A lot of things become like muscle memory
because we just doing it. And I don't even know if it's like the purpose or why, because I feel like when we get into work, that is our purpose and why. We just forget to like intentionally mention it. I think we forget what we enjoy, because I don't think we always enjoy the purpose.
Or the journey.
Or the process, or the process.
Yeah.
So let me ask you that then, because I feel like for me personally, like one of my mentors told me that like you gonna have spurts where you not always motivated, but you gotta stay consistent. Like as long as you stay consistent, like you'll be alright, because you're not gonna always be motivated.
Yep.
But then I always bring it back to like my why is the reason. Like I do enjoy my why. You know what I'm saying? So. Like, how do we get the young kids to pick a why that they enjoy? Because I feel like if they don't pick a why that they enjoy, then they is going to go through phases in life where you just going to feel like you're not enjoying anything. But I feel like if you pick a why that kind of make you feel good.
That's tough, because, when I went to school, I started off as a pre-engineering major.
Because I was going to say, do we ever like pick our why, or does our why really pick us?
I like that.
I think we kind of like just land into our why. Yeah. Like, we figure it out. Like, and even as like an educator, there are some things that I don't like. I know helping people is my purpose. I love to help people, but I also understand the way that like the system in which I'm currently helping people is not always going to be enjoyable, and I've accepted that.
I think even when it comes back to that question, do we pick our why, or do our why picks us? And this is just not off topic, but like that. Just read some stuff, and I think that I don't think it is a coincidence, and this is why I believe that our why chooses us. Sometimes if you read like most astrology things, most like zodiacs, and it tell you what profession your zodiac mostly lands. Most people land in a profession that corresponds with their zodiac. So it's like, even if you don't think that was your purpose, somewhere along the line, you're gonna end up being in the field that you enjoy. And sometimes I think that was saying for me, like I quit so many jobs, man, just trying to just get it going.
But I would say this: when you quit so many jobs trying to get it going, at some point you knew that those weren't the places for you. But it was like. That's what was available, or that's what I needed because I had to pay rent, or I had to pay mortgage. I had to. So some things we kind of get into because that, but we know that's not our why, or we like, this is my stepping stone to my why, right? Yeah. But I think what's important to note is sometimes I think when we think about the journey of doing something that we love, you're not going to always love it.
Correct.
Because there's not going to be every part is not going to be about me loving it. The problem I think that we face is when I'm at the spots that I don't love it. How do I keep myself motivated? As long as things are good and the sky is blue and it's summer, I'm good, right? But when it's snow on the ground and I can't walk and it's below zero, I'm bad. So how do I push that when things don't feel comfortable, or now I'm in an uncomfortable situation, that I don't get stuck there, to remember the good things that happen, or that I have bad relationships in that part.
Yeah, and I think with that, it's in those uncomfortable situations. They say growth happens in those moments, whether it's growing, with or growing, in a different direction. Like it just you should be growing and reflecting on like how you're becoming a better person, a better version of yourself in those tough moments.
Yeah.
That's why I said when I do get in those tough moments, right, where it's like, in those uncomfortable moments, my why brings me back to like my enjoyment, right? So like, say if I have a long week of work, whatever, but like at the end of the day, I really love helping the youth. So when I think about, okay, what you really doing this for, you really trying to help the youth, you really trying to get them to understand this, and this. And so then that bring me back to a spot where I'm like, okay, it's cool, like it's worth it. Like,
But do you ever think like, because I think like what we do now is the picture here, but I still think there's a bigger picture that we're waiting to get to. So like, not to say like this is a stepping stone, but to say like this is the moment where I'm supposed to be, right? Where I receive and get, but that moment is supposed to be preparing me maybe for my bigger picture when I draw out, like for example, if can I use you for a moment, Mr. Driscoll? Sure. Thank you for your permission. But like for Mr. Driscoll, for example, thank you for your services, but being U.S. Navy. You didn't just say, let me do reserves just to be reserve and then an assistant principal and all. At some point when you pull the picture back, it's something bigger and greater in that. But right now you're here and you see the smaller pieces. And I think that's where we sometimes get tripped up because we forget to then step back and say, but look at this big picture where I'm going. Look at all these pieces that are deposited into where I'm going with this. And sometimes it's about connecting things that people didn't know that you could connect. And so you start out as a teacher or you start out as a seeker and then you say, now I'm going to teaching, but it's still bringing you out where you're looking at the bigger picture of it. Now you're doing instructional coaching. Wow, now I might be going to this. But it keeps bringing you out versus keeping you sitting in that spot. And I think what happens is sometimes we get stuck right here versus pulling back to be like, whoa, wait, watch all this that's about to happen to me.
And I think it's a good point at some of those points, and it kind of pull back to everything kind of coming together. We'll be talking about having the right people around you, having you a good team, being able to be vulnerable, and maybe at those moments where it's like, man, I feel like I'm just here, bro, and I'm just on autopilot, man. Like, what is it? Maybe your guy, man, come on, let's go out and let's go have a golf day, right? Let's go out and get together, work out a little bit, just to get away from the noise, and maybe that helps you bring you back. Some people take vacations just to have that little reset, and it bring them back to reality to put them there. Why? Or to help them to start enjoying it the way they're not just existing.
And sometimes you can get lost just with life. A parent gets sick. You get sick. There's a major shift in your life that could get you stuck in those spots. And you have to have people around you or people in your circle or in your corner or at the table that you can be vulnerable with that can also say, I'm throwing you a lifeline. And not many of us say, I'm throwing you a lifeline because I need you back. Versus, sometimes we're kind of like, that you watch me get stuck there. Yeah. And when I thought about that brought me back to how it became the new term, quiet quitting. Is it? Yeah, quiet quitting. That people are quietly quitting by not doing what they need to do in their jobs because they've just given up. And even when we think about all the things that the changes we keep going through in CPS, whether good or bad, it's enough sometimes to make people go into a quiet quitting if they stay here and not open all the way up.
I feel like it's important for us, like in these roles that we accept, and to realize like some of these issues is just what comes with the roles that we take, and like we might have a bad day, in the building, or you know, like we can't control like the other variables as far as like how someone else may be feeling that day, and then they take it out on us. But you know, speaking for like a student might be having a bad day, and then they take it out on us. But like at the end of the day, we accept it to be here, and you know what I'm saying, like we gotta. This will come with it, like you know.
So I'm gonna push back just a little bit. My mom, like she had this saying, "I don't mind if you use me, but you're not gonna abuse me."
That's true.
And like that's something that I'm working on is boundaries, because I need to be able to continue to pour into other people, right? And like, yes, we did accept the role, but the role doesn't have to entail like
The role doesn't make us a rug.
right.
Like I think sometimes people are like, oh, I'm supposed to be mistreated. Oh, I'm supposed to let them talk about me.
Yeah, not yet.
Because the other piece in that, if I'm pouring out, something's got to be pouring into me to pour out.
So let me ask you this then. It's a great topic. So I had a conversation with somebody, and they try to tell me that I'm too hands-on with my students as far as like I baby them, right? Like I tell them this is due, you have to do this. But then I tell this person like, with the students that I'm dealing with and the students that I'm working with, they working to get to the level to where they could be totally independent, know when to look at their emails, know how to write an email. But like that's part of my job is to like teach them. So like I do got to deal with students not being at that level that everybody on the outside looking in think they should be at. But I took this role. That's my challenge, is to make sure that when they leave here, that they know how to do the things to operate as a young adult. And so, and like this person was real adamant, like, no, like, you gotta let them fail. Like, they don't know. Like, this is my role. Like,
so
I have to do
the way you looking at that is, what's gonna be my end result with them? So all the stuff I gotta do, what's my end result? My end result is that they'll know how to do the emails. They'll know how to check their due dates. They'll know how to create this path of being able to do it. But right now they're not there. So everything I'm doing now is to create this end result that at some day, it's like we talked about legacy, so that they can do it themselves without me. But I have to invest in them first in order for them to be able to. That's kind of what I'm hearing you say.
No, that's right.
I don't think it's about, you know, us not knowing our population and supporting them, but it's also about that gradual release as well. Like, how are you going to let them fish for themselves? If you're constantly holding their hands, they're never going to be able to fish for themselves, and they're going to go out and expect somebody to, you know, do something for them. And they're not old. Like, once they leave here, like, we owe them an education, you know, a quality education here. But once they get into the world, like, nobody really owes them anything.
And I go back to what we were saying, even some of the kids who have certain plans, whether behavior plans or instructional success plans, once they go out of the door and leave us, nobody knew that you had a behavior plan, or nobody knew that you had to have certain coping skills to deal with, you know, some of your reactions when you get in the real world. Because when you face the real world, the judge not going to go back to documents that that might have saved you or helped you in a certain situation when you was in high school, because you're in the real world now. I don't know, they kind of go back to like even that piece. And I think that is one of the things that we got to meet students where they are, because we have a different group of kids.
And I wouldn't even say just students. It's even as adults, because adults are just students that some if you close your eyes, some adults you talk to rather, you're like, oh, that probably happened when they was a student, and it's still, you know. and I don't mean that like in a negative way. I just mean that if I was a student that didn't maybe ask for help or didn't understand something and figured out another way, as an adult I do the same thing. And so, you know, or if something became dangerous for me, or it felt over, maybe I shut down. So as an adult, I still shut down if I didn't get help in that. So sometimes adults are just students that have had their own share of, you know, what has molded them. And so what I would submit to that is we're constantly doing that. Not even just with students, we're doing that with everybody we meet. So when I talk to Turner, I'm talking to Turner, the Turner that's in front of me, but I'm really talking to the Turner of the future Turner
Mm-hmm.
that I hope to see or that I want to invest in. When I'm talking to Driscoll about some things, as it being in leadership, I may be talking to Driscoll right there, but I'm really talking to the Driscoll for 5 years from now or 10 years from now.
And you can be talking, is me example, if you're talking to me, you could be talking to a child version of me that has not healed yet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you're talking to me, certain triggers or certain whatever came up that I might not have healed from in my past, and now it's coming up in our conversations, it's coming up in our situations throughout the school year. So it's that piece as well.
It goes back to, I think, what was that, maybe 2 episodes ago, we talked about like the fathers in our lives and how different, relationships we had with them, and how it, now how we want to make sure something is different when we have our children and stuff. So I think that's still a part of, the child in us, the adult is still that, there's still that child that people don't always see, because they see that, oh, that's an adult should do this. But if I still got that child in me, so I guess what I'm saying is that when we speak to each other or speak to people, let's speak to the future person and not the person that's actually standing there.
Yeah, I think as I'm thinking, I think a lot of the way I act or think is like geared towards like my inner child, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like when I say like I wish I had somebody in high school, right, that could like show me how to write an email, show me how to be responsible. So then I make sure that like when I'm thinking about all of this, that like I'm doing all the things that I wish I had. Like for example, when they leave high school, right, I don't have the notion of like they out there on their own. Although that's the reality of it, I feel like it need to be a group of people that's assisting these young people on how to operate
And did you equip them?
in life, and that you equip them, because it's a harsh reality when they get out of here. It's gonna be totally different from high school to the real world. And so, like when I had kids, I'm not gonna make the standard to where you 18, you out the crib. No, you need to buy your house before you leave this house. You need to have a down payment on the house. You need to have college degrees. Cause I feel like they still need that support. And like my people's like, you graduate high school, it's out of there. And I feel like that's not how it should be with our kids. Like it need to be like a community. So I think this is trying to tell them like it's important to get you a mentor. It's important to get you friends and real brothers that'll be around you, that you can lean on and help you when you leave here.
Yeah, and I think that is important. My only point to you was like we can't enable them to always lean
For sure. I
on
agree.
somebody. They have to develop the skills for themselves.
For sure.
And I do think that aspect of like building generational wealth is gonna be key. Like, no, we shouldn't just kick folks out of our home when they turn 18.
Yeah.
Like if you're struggling, on your own, and it's hard out here. I was just listening to like, something on TikTok today. They were saying like, back in the 90s, a house was $30,000.
Yeah.
The average cost for a house now is $400,000. Am I going to expect my kids to be able to afford that? No. So yeah, you can stay with me until you can get on your feet, and that's a part of that building generational wealth.
I think we kind of gravitate towards, again, was what triggered us, what we might have went through as a kid, and maybe that inner child or who we are coming out. Because like just offensive was Jordan, you might gravitate towards kids like you said who lacked the stuff that you had, so you gravitate towards those kids. I think everybody do that like naturally. I gravitate towards kids that might connect to me or why I see myself as, and then some of the same things. I think it's important to come back to that, to remind kids to keep a nice team around you, to understand your why, to push and low key not drop the ball.
Yeah, I'm just going to throw this out, and I know we're running out of time, but day 51 says, know your why and live your truth. And so I thought that was like something important to kind of at least leave off with is, once we know our why, how do we make sure that we live our truth in that why, without someone changing it, or without trying to be something that we don't have to be, but know our why and walk in that truth, and not being afraid to stand up in that truth of it. And so understanding if it's the inner child that someone is speaking to, that's part of my why, and that I need to stand in that truth of it versus rejecting all these other things too. So I think all of that's important. I think I would hope, and you guys we can kind of end with this. I think this time being with you guys, I know we coming almost to the end of the year, but being with you guys have been like a huge blessing for me. and it's given me opportunity to hear from you. I hope I've been able to share with you guys. And I hope that we've been able to see or feel some growth in it. And maybe people that are listening have been able to be touched through things that we said or have done, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. I appreciate it. I think I appreciate y'all for letting me be like living in my why and then authentically do that. Like,
Yeah, we voted you in. It
don't
was
gotta
not.
worry
It
about
wasn't a unanimous vote.
yeah,
You getting
nah,
in
it
here.
don't matter. I don't care if it was
I-
9 or 10.
I
I'll take it.
voted for you.
I appreciate it.
The feeling is also mutual, Principal Anderson.
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't say that for y'all to say that. I was just saying, like, I hope
No,
that.
for real.
But we
know.
just
We
expressing
know.
ourselves.
And
Okay.
this like actually helping me like it's like I'm like 50-50 with like my why.
Mm-hmm.
So like I really, God pulls me in so many different directions, and like
Because that's part of your search.
yeah, and sometimes it's like it's hard to figure out why am I doing this, or like why am I here in this situation, but this like fellowship that we doing, because we this is fellowship,
Yeah.
so this helps me figure out my why
Yeah.
in different situations.
Yeah, definitely.
So I appreciate you.
And I agree. I think this is I think this group and me being in the position I'm in, and it's like it all happened. I call it all divine timing.
Mm-hmm.
Everything always lines up at the right time. You meet the right people. You have the right conversations at the right moments. Even in those moments of discomfort, go back to just saying, you grow in those moments. I think when you cool and everything perfectly fine, you're not growing because everything cool is like life's daisy. I think when you get shook up a little bit, it causes you to look back in that mirror and go back to the drawing board. Okay, what's wrong? Let's adjust this. Let's fix this, and we move forward. I think this group and us having these podcasts has pushed all of us, and me especially, to grow to that next level, to look at the bigger picture.
Perfect. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys for listening. They do their signature. Yeah, I'm not doing all that.
Hey, happy
Peace.
Thanksgiving. Have a
Oh
good
yeah,
break.
so happy,
Thanksgiving.
happy being thankful for giving.
Yeah.
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 All right.
Thanksgiving, y'all.
Yeah.
All right. Peace.
All right, peace.